Welcome to the hot seat. We got Adrian and Kid in the back. We got myself. We got Chemo. We got no other than Ralphie Dee. Yes.
Let's go. Legend in the house.
Off the tops, Lenny had mentioned that you introduced him into the turntables, into the industry.
We met Lenny through Tommy Musto. Now, first of all, a lot of people think that Lenny and I are brothers.
Yeah, that's what I asked.
Yes, and we're not. The thing is, Lenny's last name is Dee Desiderio, which is kind of long to pronounce. So for short, Lenny D. But
Lenny D.
I came from the era before Lenny, and my last name is D'Agostino. So Ralphie Dee, and the reason,
Italian?
Yes, we are Italian. Not that that means anything. I love everybody. But what had happened was I ended up, I started out in the disco scene. See, a lot of people don't know. I have so many different eras and so many different sections of my life that all have to do with music. But I don't want to talk about the old times or whatever. What I really wanted to talk about was I am so impressed of the scene that's here in Southern California.
Really?
Because the whole hardcore thing, well, I don't want to say it was us that are responsible of it.
It's fair to say you guys started it. You guys, and not just that, kept it going.
Yes, okay, I'll explain to you that very quickly. What had happened was Lenny and Frankie Bones had a very big hit in the UK, 1990, long time ago.
Jeez, back in the
Looney Tunes, it was really big. So I had done a record for New Groove. They invited me to the UK for the first time to DJ. And that opened up, I was like, wow, this is unbelievable. So when I came back, Lenny and I went into the studio and we took jungle, which was called then breakbeats.
Yeah.
And we combined that with what was called Belgian New Wave. It was hard synthesized, sort of like a 2 Unlimited, but slow.
Okay.
And we didn't realize we were just doing what we felt. And we did this thing called English Muffin. And it blew up all over Europe. That's how we got all those gigs. And I mean, Lenny, we were doing huge raves, Mayday, and all kinds of stuff.
Jesus.
And if you look back at that time, Industrial Strength, he started that in 92. And how many years is that now? Jesus.
92.
Jeez, 29.
Almost 30.
Who would ever think that it would last this long? But what I wanted to say before about this scene here, I was coming to LA, I say the first time, probably like 94, 95.
Wow.
And
dude.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I was born in 94.
This is what I'm leading to. Dr. Free Clouds, all these places. You guys found it after. In other words, you're the next generation.
Yeah.
And when I first came here and saw the scene, I was like, holy shit, it's still happening. So I started asking about a lot of old people.
Okay.
And supposedly they're still around. But it really makes me feel good to know that something we were a part of starting is still active. I mean, usually in Europe, people come up, sign this, sign that. Here, sign my record. I'm just so flabbergasted over it. It's really great. I'm really happy. I'm really cool. Really.
Over the, it's 40 plus years in the industry, or less?
At least.
At least, right?
We'll keep it at 40.
Out of those 40 years, what was one of the pinnacle moments in your career?
Ooh, okay. Another thing that people don't know about me. I've been around so long, I'm like a dinosaur. I don't know if you guys were not born yet, but I never connected this before with the hardcore scene.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna realize this, or maybe they do. The movie that came out, Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah.
I was 14 years old, going on 15. I had just had my first DJ gig in a small bar.
Yeah.
And by fate, a friend of mine from high school who I had seen was working at the club. I saw him, it was great. Meanwhile, he was the backup DJ. Long story short, he ended up getting into a fight. His girlfriend never wanted to go there, so he says, do you want to work here? I'm like, okay, fine. So I gave him my old job, which was a total coincidence. 4 months later, they filmed this movie there, and it was mayhem. Now, I was in this scene during the disco era when it became huge. A lot of people don't know that.
Keep on going, I'm sorry, keep on going.
And from there, The disco backlash was a very big thing. Of course, a lot of people, you guys weren't born, so you go and you read about it. And then I had to distance myself from that, and I had to reinvent myself. Then came New Wave in the early 80s, then came R&B, then came, oh my God, wow. Wow, oh my God. That's another story. Do we have enough time for this?
No, we gotta know, this is one of my questions.
Oh my God.
So you were talking about that, I'm like, okay, I gotta bring this up.
Yeah, I met John Travolta for the second time. It took 40 years. He remembered me, it was great.
He remembered you.
He did,
Wow.
yeah. That picture, what was it, 2 years ago, there was a movie that came out called Gotti.
Yeah,
it wasn't a really
Gotti.
big thing in the movies, but it was like a cult thing. So they arranged a party on 86th Street in Brooklyn, which is where the pizzeria is for Saturday Night Fever, and John Travolta's an icon there. I couldn't tell you how many people were there. And there was so many people trying to get this guy's attention. This guy doesn't know me from a hole in the wall. And at first I wasn't gonna go up to him, but then my friend says, listen, what's the worst that's gonna happen to you? They're gonna throw you up there. I says, you know what, fuck this. And there's a film feed, a live film feed, where you could see me walking, I go behind him, and I'm trying to get his attention, and his wife, Kelly, rest in peace.
Yeah.
She was gorgeous, but she wanted nothing to do, like, leave alone. So I said, John, look at this, look at this, look at this. He was looking somewhere else. I showed him this picture, he went.
You showed him that picture.
Showed him that picture, and he looked at me. I says, you maybe don't remember me. I told him we were introduced. I was the original DJ from Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah.
So he took his pen out, and he went like this, and I gave it to him, and that was I mean, it really can't tell it's a signature. But anyway, it was cool to revisit that, but where I came from and what I did, I have a story I could write a book from. But what you guys should know is, and what I'm really proud of, is the hardcore scene here, which Lenny and I mean, we didn't do it purposely. We just put these two styles together, and the next thing you know, it blew up all over Europe.
Fuck,
it
man.
blew up, and then, thank God, we got the notoriety. I mean, we did, I can speak for Lenny, but I've done festivals that would, like, oh my God, it was really, really cool. And then, eras change and scenes change, but the music always remains. And that's why coming here and seeing all this, I remember coming here in '95, we were talking about Dr. Free Clouds and all these places. How's this one doing? How's that one doing? And you guys are the next generation. All of a sudden, the promoters, Jamie, I gotta say hello. I'm sorry, my mouth was dry.
No, you're good.
Jamie comes in the hotel room and says, can you do me a favor? I'm like, what? Can you autograph these? I'm like, records that Lenny and I did back in the early 90s.
No way.
When I see that, that's something that is like, wow, that's so cool.
No, yeah,
and the thing
definitely.
is, you guys kept it alive. Like, it's got to be 2 generations now from when we did it in the 90s.
At least.
At least 2 generations.
That's the main thing, because regardless, Lenny didn't want to come out to conquer the world. I never wanted to conquer the world. It just
happened.
And now to come here 25 years later and see this and have somebody come up to me before, as soon as I got here, I can't think of the guy's name, really nice guy, pulls out some record I did from an Italian label in 1995. Can you sign this? And I'm like,
that must have been
absolutely. And it's like, well, a lot of people, I can't speak for everybody. A lot of people just, leave me alone. I appreciate everything, because just to know you're remembered, and to come here and to be noticed, and for these people to remember. I really, at the beginning of the set, I wanted to announce to people, we were the beginning of hardcore, because a lot of people don't realize that.
No, they don't.
But again, hopefully I'll get to do it sometime. This isn't the last time I'm going to be here, but I'll tell you what,
not.
you guys rock.
You and Lenny Dee are fucking
You guys,
murdering
and
in there,
that is,
dude.
of course, I'm going to tell you, I didn't know what to expect.
Murdering.
And you got to remember, COVID killed us. So we haven't been playing for a while. I mean, I have a residency in Staten Island and Brooklyn, whatever. I haven't seen Lenny in 2 years. We all went through hard times or whatever, but it was weird, getting booked, okay. And then I didn't even know Lenny was getting booked. Of course, Jamie called and says, listen, can we use industrial strength? Now, I didn't even know Lenny was going to come here. And I'm like, listen, I don't know, you better call Jules And meanwhile, all of a sudden I get a call from Jules. Oh, you're playing. I'm like, I'm gonna play with Lenny. This is the first time we played together in 15 years.
Holy
15 freaking
shit,
years,
man.
And it's Lenny's. He might as well be my brother. It's like a trip.
Practically, man.
It's like a trip. I'm sorry, I'm taking too much time. Hit me
No,
with the
no,
questions.
no, no.
Hit me with the questions. Come on.
We're listening.
Hit me with the questions. I'm ready. I'm freaking ready.
We're honored.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Honestly, at this point we are, bro. I mean, I'm a little speechless right now. I'm not gonna lie because
See, that's what I can't believe, though. See,
no, because for me, I grew up with like the Showtech era, like noise controllers, Wasted Penguins,
when did you first start getting into hardcore? What year?
hardcore.
94, 95.
I was born '94.
Oh, okay. No,
No.
excuse me.
No,
2000.
Yeah, maybe like
07 for me.
Okay, but here's the thing.
2008, 9.
It was still there for you to discover.
Yeah.
And there are people, I don't know if you know the name Ron Decor.
Yes.
Ron
Okay, Ron
yeah.
Decor. When I first came here in the early 90s, he had a record store. Excuse me, sorry, Ron, if you see this. Don't remember the name of the store. But he was one of the first people that booked us out here. And we did some shows in 93, 94, 95, and I hadn't seen or heard from him since. And all of a sudden, we get booked here, and I'm talking to the promoter. I says, Ron Decor. He goes, oh yeah, I know Ron Decor. He's still doing it.
Shit.
Wow.
Just
So
like Rob
shout out
G.
to Ron Decor.
Just like Rob G still doing the damn thing,
Okay,
man.
well, see, let me tell you something. Rob G, that guy, I gotta hand it to him. That guy did so many things. See, I kind of like broke away from the hardcore
Yeah.
thing for a while, not because I didn't like it, because
Different business.
I have a label, yeah, and I'm like a chameleon. Everything changes.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Rob gets booked all over the world. We did Sex, Drugs, and Gabba House together.
Oh shit.
That blew
Dog,
the
that fucking
fuck
name.
up till this day, and to me it's amazing. Well, we still have an issue with the publishing,
Yeah.
which I don't want to get into. They owe us hundreds and thousands of dollars. Rob knows.
Yeah.
We'll figure that out, but it's all about the scene here. I mean, for you guys to have this set up, for them to book us here, it's like, I'm really impressed. I really am.
Yeah. For me, like I say I'm speechless because like music is everything to me. Like I express myself through music a lot better than I do with words.
Right.
You tell me like to give me one track to express your feelings, I'll throw you a Wasted Penguin track. I like euphoric hardstyle a lot.
Okay.
And then later in my life, I started getting into hardcore and harder and harder. Then I started liking terror, and it's just like once you start going harder, there's no stopping.
Yeah,
it.
well, okay. Now that's a really good point you brought up. What had happened was when Lenny and I started, our first tracks were 135, 140.
And that was pushing it,
And
right?
yeah, but that was considered techno. And I'm talking about, we were on stage with guys, Carl Cox, Sven Vance. I
Dude.
mean, we were, forget about it. It was
Dude.
great. So with those guys' support, it was
Yeah.
great. Even the guys, they called it Gabber House.
Gabber
and even the
House.
guys that didn't play it, like Laurent Garnier and all the like house guys,
Yeah.
they supported us. But what happened was, after Industrial Strength got really big, Lenny, his power became big, and he started to sign other artists. So when he signed other artists, it started to change a bit. So now it's not hardcore gabber. It became sort of like speedcore. And listen, I got nothing against it. I'm into all kinds of music, but that changed. Whoever the girl was, very pretty girl actually, that was on before me.
Misfits.
She plays a lot of that. And guys like, let me see, Delta 9, DOA,
shit, Delta 9.
those guys were responsible for taking the BPMs from like 160, 200, boom, speedcore. And yeah, it was kind of it was an emerging situation, but when it got that fast, to me, listen, I got no qualms. Anybody creating whatever you can,
Yeah.
big ups to you. But for me, I came from disco. I came from melodies and, hello. Sorry, I got distracted. Melodies and slower kind of tempo stuff. So, respect to all those guys that are doing all the really, really hard stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know where it goes from here, but one thing I can tell you, for it to go all the way back, 30-something years, and when I played my set, the whole set was all stuff that came out no later than 25 years ago. Now,
Bro.
I don't know if any of the people knew. What I really wanted to do was, before I went on, was to take the mic and explain, okay, we're gonna go on a journey, hardcore, this is how we got involved in it, to explain, but you know what, it didn't matter, because most of the people that come
Dude.
here or into the scene have no idea what those tracks are, which is, it's education.
I would have stood there and
Definitely
listened
educate,
without a doubt. I would have been like, I would have appreciated the set even more if you would have said from the beginning. And I think anybody else who would come out here as a fan, not knowing who you are, would have been like, oh shit, this is who he is.
That's the whole thing. Have strangers come up to me, bring records and sign them. I mean, I remember being in Holland and doing that, and listen, I'm just a regular guy. I don't consider myself a superstar, but when somebody comes up to you and asks you to sign their shirt, and a girl takes her top off and asks her to, I mean, to me, that's a big thing. So
Hey, that's some rock star moves right there.
I got you there, right? But yeah, I mean, we'll keep it G-rated, but I have to, again, this has got to be like 30 years. And I have to reach out for Lenny, because Lenny, what he started.
Yeah.
I mean, I see Jamie, the promoter that picked us up, he's got an industrial strength shirt. Places in Scotland, all these places, it's a revival. So what they do is they play the stuff now, but they want to hear where the old stuff came from, and that to me is an education for everybody. That's why stuff like this, doing talk or interviews, it's great, because I have so much to say. It's not about me, it's about the scene.
Yes,
and
dude.
if it wasn't for COVID, we would have been all over the place. But I'm gonna tell you what, who's ever watching this, I am so impressed with this scene here.
Yes.
I'm telling you, amazing. And I'd love to come back anytime. I really had a good time.
Honestly, we could go on for probably hours just talking
All right,
with you,
ask
man.
me something interesting. And whatever time you have, no problem. I'm waiting for Lenny to get up and stuff. Go ahead.
Would you ever go back to making disco?
Would you ever go back to making disco?
Good
Was the question.
Okay.
Hey, if it dies, fuck it.
That
fuck it.
disco,
Disco. Would you ever go back?
I actually have went back already.
Oh shit.
Here's what a lot of people don't know, and this is the hardest part. I'm signed with an agency in the UK. They're strictly for house and for disco.
Oh, fuck.
Disco happened 45 years ago, but the house heads in the UK it's like the biggest thing. But what they do is they'll take disco records that I used to play when they were new, and they loop them and put shit over them. Now, you could say what you want, well, you know, that's really not a production or whatever. Listen, it's still a tribute to that era. So what I do is I still make music. I'll make music I call it disco house. I'll make music for that era. But as far as the hardcore stuff, I haven't done any hardcore. Oh, as a matter of fact, even Lenny was freaking out. I played 4 tracks tonight that I never released. When I played 2 of them, Lenny was like, what the fuck is that? I'm like, Lenny, I played these for you in like 2000, you don't remember. But if you listen to the hardcore now, it's different, I get it. But hey, listen.
Hey. When I was talking to him beforehand, before the event, maybe like a week before, I'm excited to see what they're gonna play, because I went back. You might not have like any recent like hardcore mixes.
No,
but
none.
I went back into your catalog, and man, I'm like, dude, I'm excited to listen to what he's gonna play, because he's gonna play a bunch of old stuff.
And that's the cool thing, because see, that's what makes you a real music lover. You have to understand the music today, it came from somewhere.
Yes,
and
dude.
for somebody to come up to me and give me a record that I did in 1993 and want me to sign it, that person knows. Now again, I don't want to say that every single person knows, but it's always good to know that what you did a long time ago is still appreciated.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand that. And what happens is now we're in, what's this, like the third generation of hardcore
Easily
people here?
coming, yeah, easily.
I mean, but we're coming here in the early 90s, so
30,
yeah, second or third,
yeah,
easy.
For sure,
And
100%.
it's such a great feeling that humbles me to the point where, you know, people, there's a lot of artists, which I won't mention names, that would, you know, leave me alone. Me, I'm like, for somebody to go out of their way to give me something to sign or to say great set, take a picture with me,
Some of my favorite artists have been like that.
and that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's the whole thing. And that's why again, none of us have been out for a while. The last DJ gig I did abroad was in Florida, but it was like a house disco thing. But when I got called for this, I was like, this is gonna be interesting. And he says, you know, I haven't heard anything that you played recently.
Yeah.
Give them old school hardcore. And I'm like,
Oh,
cool. Now
yeah.
even Lenny stopped playing certain stuff because Lenny's not as crazy as a DJ where let me tell you something, I thought I had freaking flying mileage. This guy's in the millions. And I have to take my hat off to him because, you know, people are still wearing industrial strength shirts and started that when? 91?
30 plus years, man.
Yeah. So anything, that was a good question. Anything else, I'm here. No problem. Whatever you want to know.
Fuck.
I'm a little stumped right now, dude.
Well,
Wow.
Do you like big tits or small? Can I say that?
Yes.
I'm more,
Can I?
I'm more of an ass guy myself.
A what?
I'm more of an ass guy myself.
He said big or small.
Big or small?
You make a choice.
I'll tell you what. No, the women out here,
Hey, we got all time. We have beautiful people out here.
I got
Hey,
like
but
four.
in New York, you got the Puerto Ricans out there, yo.
but it's not like here. There's
Hey,
a couple of girls here that I met, which
What,
I was
what
like,
about the girls in Staten Island, though?
They got friends.
How is the
Hey, no
club
offense,
scene
though.
out there compared to
okay,
out
you
here?
really want to know?
Really,
Yeah.
I really do. I mean, because we've asked
You're
a
probably
couple
not.
of different
You're not
New
going to
Yorkers.
like the answer.
Really?
Here's the answer. I have been actively doing this since I'm a kid. So
Yeah.
let's say 35, 40 years. There is a club scene in Staten Island, but it's all 40 and over. Why? The divorce rate in New York
Oh my God.
is skyrocketing.
Oh my God.
So all these women that had, you know, husbands or whatever, they come out and I have to play all disco, 80s, all that stuff. Hardcore, if I played, they'd be like,
What the fuck is this?
they don't know. So there's a lot of things that they don't know. But I do have to say, if it wasn't for that, there's really no clubs. What they do is it's restaurants. They move the tables and you do things. Not like here. This is a scene. It's so gratifying to walk in and see and hear people that are so into it. And that's the difference. But back home, I got to play next week. I have a residency at the Club Pastels.
Hey.
I'm like,
Will you be playing hardcore?
they have no idea what it is. But what I do play, when I play, I'm not like a wedding DJ. There are people that, I have other DJs that are friends of mine that play, and they're like wedding DJs. Pitbull and, I mean, like you're at a Sweet 16.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't do that. That's why coming here was like a release. Oh my God, I can't believe it's
Yes.
great.
So
but yeah, back home isn't so great. I would rather do places like
So
this.
when was the last time you played hardcore set?
Ooh, okay, last
year?
hardcore set that, okay. Here's a good one for you. 2019, going into 2020,
Oh,
New
shit,
Year's
recent.
Eve in Prague.
In Prague.
The beer is fantastic.
Yo.
But what happened was I did the hardcore, I did old school techno, like trance kind of stuff. The people were freaking. It was great. It worked out well. But on my way back, I caught COVID. Before they even stopped the airlines from doing that,
Yeah.
there was no test at the time. There was nothing. But what was weird was I had, I get a flu every year at the same time. And
I'm the
I
same
couldn't
way.
go to my doctor, so I'd only, speak to her by phone.
Yeah.
So I said, "You think I got COVID?" And she says, "Well, you get a what do you call it, flu every year." She gave me Mucinex, a Z-Pack, and Tylenol. And I remember for like a week, aches and pains. It was a little bit more than the flu. or I was better. I was fine.
Yep.
It wasn't until 2.5 months later that they finally did those tests, and I went. And they said there's 3 scenarios. You had COVID, and you passed it. You have it now and you're contagious, or you never got it. So when I went, the guy says, you don't have COVID, but we can't find if you ever had it. And finally, maybe about 3 months later, they did the antibody test for the first time. And that's when they said, congratulations, you had COVID. My antibodies were one of the highest you could ever do. On my, out of my doctor's patients, just 2 of us have had antibodies. They sent me to give plasma. And another thing, I had COVID 2 other times. I was exposed to a bunch of people, never even knew it.
Holy
shit. The last time I
your
played,
immune system was excellent at
I hope it's still good. I have to go for another one.
You got some more?
I have to go for a COVID test Monday. I just did, to get on the plane and everything. It was fine. But an antibody test. On the same day, I have to go for a regular COVID test because I have to have surgery on Thursday coming up, which is the second surgery at 3. But the last time I played hardcore was in Prague, and they were going ape shit. Ape shit.
So I got a quick question. Do you still use vinyl records when you scratch, or do you use CDJs now?
Because I saw you scratching up there. You were live scratching up there.
Yeah, I just did that because I was bored for a second. Here's the thing. Here's the thing, and we have this all the time. There are the old school people who insist, you got to use vinyl. Got to use vinyl. If it's not vinyl, it's an art form. You can't get. Meanwhile, here's what I tell them, guys. Digital is what we prayed for back in the day when we used vinyl. In other words, you could only get out of a record in a certain point. 8 bars, you got to get out. Now, you loop it, 16 bars, 32 bars. If you do it the right way, that's what I really like to do.
That's so interesting. You're giving me the other point of view.
Well, that's the whole thing. Now, if you look at vinyl now, there would be no reason why I would use vinyl because I'm limiting myself. But if I was asked to do a vinyl set, I still have the records, I would do it. I mean, it wouldn't be as, as fun, I guess, but what are you gonna do? But again, that's it. I mean,
it seems like we could just talk and talk forever. Besides this, we'd also do a podcast, which is a longer format.
Cool.
This is mainly we call this the hot seat.
Yeah, cool.
Just to give you guys the platform.
Here's the deal. My Facebook page, Ralphie Dee, as long as you spell it right, RALPHIE, space DEE, send me all this stuff. Man, hold on. You guys got my support, man. I really appreciate you guys keeping the scene alive.
Honestly, it means
and
so
hopefully,
much, man.
and hopefully, in the future, maybe we can get booked again, and it would be an honor because there's nothing better to be booked somewhere to know that strangers come up to you and go, yo, man, that was great. Yo, man, that was great. You play where I come from, they're just like, oh, can you play like an old disco record and dedicated to my ex-husband or something?
Oh, get out of here.
Are you guys going to be here for Lenny? Because I'm sure he's, if you want to wait.
Oh, well, we already interviewed him.
Oh, you got him?
Yeah,
okay. Because you got to interview Lenny.
Yeah, we tried getting him before. When you were on, we were on him.
Cool.
We got him going, so it was
Now, maybe, am I still on?
Yeah, you're still on.
Okay.
I had a couple questions though. So
go right ahead.
We have another segment that we're going to be pushing, coming up and stuff like that. It's basically we're going to get some artists such as yourself.
Yeah.
We're putting you on the spot. We're going to give you a laptop, some equipment. And
okay.
You could just make something on the spot. What do you think?
Okay. When you say make something, meaning
any genre,
a melody,
any track,
okay.
any kind of track.
Okay, I use Ableton.
I got that.
He got you.
Okay, I get it. You know what? Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
We're willing to challenge the DJ. I mean, we don't really care about making the track, but we just want to.
And here's the thing, you bring that up, you got to remember something. When we started making records in 89, 90, it was studio, hardware, and the one thing that changed the entire music industry as far as the production thing,
synthesizer,
the Akai S950. Remember that. That is a sampler. Now, Lenny was the first one that got it, and I remember Lenny went to England to go do a tour with, of all people, Carl Cox. So Lenny's like, take the sampler. You got to sample all your records. So I figured out how to use it, and I sampled all my stuff. When I went to England, that totally changed my entire life. Because here we are in this era using this sampler, and I have all these ideas coming from as far back as like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and funk stuff and hip hop. And one record did it for me. You gotta look this up. Moving. By Marathon.
Oh, Marathon.
They took
we'll check it out.
An acapella of oh God. The main ingredient did it. There's something going round inside. I can't think of the name of the song.
Yeah.
But these guys who produced that took the acapella. They took a break beat from the Rolling Stones, Give Me Shelter. When I heard that, I'm like, wow, you could do that. And if you listen to earlier records I did for Lenny's label, Ride. Okay. If you listen to it, I sampled Revolution Number 9 by the Beatles, and it's John Lennon going, Ride. And people are like, wow, how did you do that? Well, because I didn't know that it was just a matter of putting my head into my background. But England was a life changer. Those guys at that time, that was the best time for music, actually. Jesus. It was the best time. It really was. And again, it's all for me. It's all a trip, and it just never gets old. It never gets old. Thanks to guys like you for doing this. It's great.
Shoot, man. Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely reach out to you through your Facebook, and hopefully we get you on the podcast going, get a
Not a problem,
format,
absolutely.
Man, I have
Are we
so
still
many
on?
questions. Yeah.
Let me know when we're off.
Yeah, I have so many questions to ask, but like unfortunately, obviously with time
constraints
constraints
we can do something by phone or FaceTime, no problem.
We definitely want to do that. Before we go off, though, I want to be the next stranger to ask you to sign something.
Wow, the tape.
This is
on the table.
Get your spot anywhere. It don't matter.
See, people back home don't understand this.
No,
they really don't.
One
what
day,
do you mean you sign autographs? It's different. Okay.
One day this is gonna be plastered on our wall, studio.
What should I say? The intro say.
Whatever you want. Whatever you want, man. Whatever you want.
We're called Music or Noise.
Hell yeah, dude.
No, it's definitely music. It's definitely music.
That's right.
But you know what happens? Sometimes there are people that do stuff you can hear right away. They're not musically inclined. And what happened with technology made it easier for the everyday person to just go and do beats. When we first started, you had to know some kind of music.
No, yeah,
and that
definitely.
was the thing. So Lenny and I rubbed off from each other where Lenny had his thing. Yeah, I remember Lenny's younger than me, and when I played every club in New York. I mean, not to say that I was a big shot, but I played all these places because
respectively.
The 2001 thing when I was a kid, they all hired me to when they opened up their clubs. And all of a sudden, Lenny comes in, and Lenny was like, okay, keyboard, did the morning after, which was in an Xbox game, which sold millions of copies. I did a track, I don't know, here's a good question. I did a track in 1990, it's not hardcore, called The Realm by Chantel. Have you ever heard of it? Probably not. Okay.
The Realm.
It has an acapella that we left. It is the most sampled record into Something for Your Mind.
Oh,
that's me.
For Your Mind.
That's me. I produced that with two other people. Yes, I produced that with two other people.
That's my favorite.
Now, when we were kids, thank God I had signed to a publishing company, and Lenny had signed as well. I'm still with the same publisher.
Bro.
30 years later, they used it in an Xbox game. And I'm talking.
Wow.
So that's another thing I learned about publishing. But like we did with Rob G, Sex, Drugs, and Gabba House.
Yes.
We still have a problem with the publishing. The money that's owed to us is like insane. But again, that's something else. But anyway, it was, guys.
Hey.
Whenever you want to do this again, it was great talking to you.
Fuck, man. Hey.
It was great. I really appreciate it.
We got Chino, Adrian in the back. We got myself,
Facebook
Daniel.
me, no problem. Anytime. Everybody, thank you very much for even be interested in this because it's really cool.
You are a legend.
We got.
Oh, wow.
I'm
That's
happy
really-
we closed
that's
out.
so cool.
How fucking lit.
That's so cool. Thank you very much.
This was a hell of a fucking time.
Thank you very much.
Hey,
I
let's
really
just
appreciate
give
it.
it up for fucking Ralphie Dee.
Give it up for the hardcore
legend.
scene out here in LA. Absolutely.
Hardcore never dies.
Salute, absolutely.
Wrap it up. That was another episode of The Hot Seat with Ralphie Dee. Let's go.